But we've got a really interesting question coming in from David Keane, and it's regarding probably one of the most famous crowd of characters out in the many years. Well, not in the last 2-3 years. I've never had the opportunity to actually see them in face to face. Did have an experience with them about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, a crowd of lads that have been known as the Mapojos. It's a coalition of 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 typically, the way we see them, 6 in total.
Yeah. And
well, actually knows quite a lot about them as well.
Which is quite it's quite an interesting question. Is what are the chances? I mean, being such a strong coalition of 5 males, which is such a unique thing. What are the chances of actually a bigger coalition being formed and actually pushing out the Mapojos?
Jan?
Sure.
Wouldn't that be nice to see?
That would be quite a story unfolding. Okay, well, I really don't have the knowledge in that, and the Mapojos are a little bit older, and Mr. T is losing his mane quite a lot now, and but I would suppose, I don't know what you guys think, that first of all, I think before that's going to happen, this Mapojo male coalition is probably going to not deteriorate, but one of them is going to, maybe 2 of them, is going to die out or just get discarded eventually, and then I don't know, 5-6 lions more, or let's say 7 other. We don't know of any other coalitions that's that big now, but I think before that's going to happen, I think one of the Mapojos, or maybe 2 of them, will either go on their separate ways, or one of them or 2 of them might die, and then there's obviously the chance of another 5 male lions attacking them and taking their stride over, if I can say it that way.
Yeah, it is such a unique thing just to see such a big coalition already, so to try and imagine a bigger coalition coming in would be even more unique. However, I think about nature, that's really one big curveball, so I'd never say impossible, but sure, yeah, it would be quite a scene to see. But they seem to be holding strong at the moment, and have had a very, very interesting history, and the word of the Mapojos throughout the guides and rangers out in this area spreads like wildfire, and yeah, it's exhilarating to actually see them, to be that close to such a strong coalition of males. And is it actually, Pieter, you found them a few weeks ago with Alex on that buffalo carcass. Yeah, you made a very good point on pointing out how intense that stare is, while they were staring directly into the lens almost, and it just goes straight through you. It is just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they're certainly special lions. I mean, again, that's the kind of question we can sit about and might even do after we say goodnight and talk about it more. But I think Jan's point was very good. In other words, before it's just purely because the chance of 5 male coalition is quite limited already. But Jan's point was valid. I think before anything really happens, there'll have to be a weakening within the ranks of the Mapojos first, either by 1 or 2 of them getting old, which is possible, but you know, that's 4 or 5 years away. But more likely, 1 or 2 of them, the male that's often by himself gets caught by 2 or 3 other lions. You know, obviously then by himself he might be in trouble, or a snake bite or a buffalo. You know, they caught a big buffalo the other day, and there's a variety of things that could weaken the coalition and then maybe leave a gap. But more likely then it won't be a case of them getting displaced. Again, keep in mind that these males have got such a vast territory now that they've got multiple prides. So if the coalition got weakened, it's more likely that they'll get pushed off maybe from one area, maybe lose 1 of the males in the process or something. But I think for them to just get displaced out of the area that they're dominating now, which is very large, would have to be unique sometime. The largest coalition he ever studied in East Africa was 7 males. They took over 3 territories combined as a coalition, and then after they're done, so they split into groups of into 3 coalitions basically of 3, 2, and 2, and then spend the rest of the years in those groups with the pride. So there's quite a few varieties when you start dealing with these large numbers. Also out of interest sake is that lions can distinguish when they listen to roaring up to 5 males. So if the Mapojos are all roaring, he would know there's 5 lions roaring. Anything more than that, they don't really have the ability to count, if that makes any sense. Most likely because it's almost never the case, unless obviously you have the females roaring and so on. So there's a lot of potential stories to hypothesize about and talk about, and I'm sure we will still work through lots of them over the next while. But I think to answer the premise of that question is that most likely the Mapogos will be around for quite a few years. I would say 4 or 5 years at least. One decide they've had enough of the Mapogos and then 500 buffalo take on 5 lions, and you know, numbers do count in the end.
There's a lot of action happening out there in the bush. You just never know how it's going to turn out. Yeah. Well,